to find a new place here, and looking forward to it. It's what's new on my side, and like it's been weird to not work that much for that long, and now to come back to my old schedule and realize that man, I'm going hard because I still have this full house schedule. Now, me and my wife were supposed to have our honeymoon or second honeymoon this Friday in Cancun, and we're like, fuck it, we don't even want to move anymore. We just want to focus on like finding a cool place, and she's got her photography business going on, so it's interesting. Because who would say no to going to Cancun, right? And
I
it was
would.
like a luxury Airbnb looking out to the sea. Then I would have bought Cirque du Soleil Hoya tickets. So, but yeah, who knows? I might do it. But she has a photo session at the same day, so
Give it time. Give it time. You can always go there some other week.
yeah.
Anyway, so GTM podcast, right? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I've
So
done
what
recording.
app are we using first? Like maybe
So this is
that's
called
pretty fun.
Squadcast. It is, you get it free when you pay for Descript, which I've been paying for like 2 years. And it uploads both of our videos in full resolution while we're streaming at a little bit lower quality. So it gives you the best quality. Like we're both doing 70p, 30 FPS upload, right? So it's good quality upload. And it buffers, I think, on your computer, but whatever. It's all bandwidth nonsense. Anyway, so
Podcasting today.
GTM
We're going to
podcast.
talk about that mostly. I think what we talked about on the mastermind yesterday was really interesting. So Benny suggested the idea. Benny Rubin, he's CEO of Senders and new to that edition of the mastermind. He basically said I should offer the podcast guest to sponsor the interview, and let's call it like, hey, pay me 1,000 per month. I'll invest like, well, not sure still if I need to tell them how much, but it could be like 500 for me to manage the ad, 500 for them to be promoted out there. And I really like that idea because I would win as well. I would win subscribers and so forth. They would win too. And that's crazy smart. What did you think about that idea?
I very much liked it. I think it is. So one of the things, I mean, we've talked about this sometimes on the GTM podcast, is you and I are both guilty of this, right? There's always a new, interesting thing to pursue instead of doing the thing that works. And I'm guilty of that, right? I made $60K on a couple of podcasts in July, and then went, nah, why do them in August and September? And now I'm like, well, that made money pretty easily. Maybe I should do it again. Now I'm back at it. In your case, you're doing a lot with podcasting. You're making great inroads with the ability to schedule these for people, and the obvious next step is to say, how do you systematize this and form some partnerships? Because I would note, like for my agency, partnerships have driven in the last 3 months half my revenue for this year, probably somewhere a little over a third, a little over than a half. Right, a lot of money just lying on the ground, basically, that that partnerships can bring you, and some of this is comp, where I'm giving folks 10% back of the revenue share. Some of it's just folks referring me business, right? So it's a very obvious. Like we talk about GTM, I think you and I are both guilty of both being good at something and then finding it boring because we're good at it, and then looking for something more difficult to do instead. And for folks who are both, good at go-to-market, the market said, hey, I want more of this, and we were both kind of ignoring it in pursuit of something else. And, of course, as you mentioned in the podcast, or in the mastermind yesterday, this will get burned out, because it will. It's going to become overplayed. The two things I think counteract that. One is if you actually have an audience, it won't burn out. And I mentioned in the mastermind, I'm not going to go into the details here because this is public, but I'm going to basically get access to a community that I just can start to work with immediately. And I'll be building up my own as well. When you, of course, have got and you're building your channel, you've got 10,000 people in an audience. Even when the idea of let me do a podcast with somebody who no one listens to fades, which it will in a year or so, if you've been putting in the work to build a community while that's been going on, you will have staying power. So I can see a big benefit to you in offering what you do to companies. So I think Benny's idea was really sharp. I think it makes a lot of sense for you. I think anybody who's looking for go-to-market, right? Of course, podcast is a thing now. I think now is the time to hop on this and try to build an audience, because all the folks who try it for 6 months and then go away, those are the folks you want to outlast.
Agree. Okay, many points here. The first one, FOMO. I think I reached a nice equilibrium with FOMO, which is that I never give up on my strong theses that are constantly being proved right. And yes, I go after not the shiny new object, but nice energy return on investment. So first, I won't get out of the outreach or podcast sphere. So I keep on compounding in there, and I don't give up on these things. I just keep on working. So I keep on A/B testing new things, but I don't invest that much energy in new things. I still keep on my strong horses, like the outreach. I still haven't give up on outreach. I just merged it mostly with podcasting. So I think it's important that folks have some kind of way to A/B test like that, and not obviously go with FOMO, because I think that's most humans, right? They just are left and right, and they might hold on to something for quite a while until it dies off, and they may make good money, but they're desperate, mentally speaking, and they're not aiming for long term. Everything their build is somewhat short term. I don't think my empire is that way. I can't call it an empire yet, but I'm compounding big time, and it's only accelerating. It's like snowball effect. Now, for the podcast theory of things, will it die down? Like you said, yes, audience, but I think, just compounding and being there and knowing what you do while being a temporary visitor will make a world of difference. I sometimes retract my very bold AI predictions that we're going to see like AGI in less than 7 years. And that would be like 6, because I started this prediction at the beginning of, or even like 2 years ago or something like that. So that would be like in 5 years, but the world will be drastically different. And yes, everyone will be trying to start a podcast for sales purposes and lead gen. Yes. But I do think that people that the moat that I see is very high quality questions. And Tim Ferriss reiterated it yesterday. I'm not saying he's a god or anything, but it's, if you want to really much advance in life, it's on your ability to ask the right question and framing the right problem correctly, right? So that you can solve it adequately. There's folks like Danny Miranda that are doing amazing jobs at asking questions and really going deep. To me, that's like a podcast mode, not only to provide the guest a great experience, but also to just advance very, very quickly in life, because you can get the right data, right? And once you have the right data, it's like a laser beam. Most people will never get to there. Asking the right question, looking at the right problem, it's like looking at the diamond. No one gets to look at the diamond because no one knows how to get there. And the ability to ask the right question is the moat. And Joe Rogan has that too. He's a great question asker. He's very curious. And I think that's the pod moat. It's data. And then let's not forget the network, right? Like me, I haven't done anything with the network side of it yet, but it's me sitting on a gold mine. That's how I felt since I started this podcast, and it's really how it is. For example, I'm gonna A/B test the Ruben idea today, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a couple of replies, and that's That's quick. That's somewhat quick money, and it's win-win money. It's
Yeah.
beautiful money, So yeah, that's my short my 2 cents on the pod. You've started your own pod recently. You reached out to first connections on LinkedIn. How's that playing for you? And what's your long term thesis with the pod? Because yeah, I wouldn't see your podcast dying down in 1.5 years.
So mine, I think, will have some legs to it, in part because it's focused in what I've been doing for years, right? So my thesis is I talk a lot about go-to-market and launch for new startups, and there's an endless flood of people launching something new. And like I posted to Reddit yesterday with, hey, here's a minimum viable sprint, one of the big things I teach and that I do. Here's how it works. I thought maybe y'all would like to see it. And it's full of people saying this is all bullshit. This can't work. This is wrong. And I'm like, one, I'm super surprised. Two, look, if you follow the steps, right, you have an audience between 50K and 500K, and you sample 1 to 1/10% of them. I'm not inventing math. That a statistical sample that size will predict the overall population behavior. That's why statistics exists. And people are like, no, it's bullshit. It can't be done. I'm like, okay, that's super interesting, right? And the reasons are, it's bullshit. I'm like, okay, can you argue with any, like, logic? No, just I've done this for 20 years and it's bullshit. I'm like, okay. So you propose something that's counterintuitive, and the immediate response, and I was posting in /r/PPC, right? These are only performance marketers. You'd think they'd be number oriented, and the answer is no, they are not. Yeah. So one of my theses is so much of what works in go-to-market is counterintuitive. And that's why so many businesses fail, because you do what feels right, which is not right, and then you go broke. And what I want to get on my podcast are people who've done it, and what was their counterfactual? What was the thing that when they did it, it worked, and it was against their intuition of what should have worked? And then across industries, right? Founders, VCs, M&A people, lawyers, all of this. Because they're all going to have a different view for the founder. The name of the thing is Launch Today. I used to run Launch Today about 18 months ago, and it was all just like 3 or 4 minute snippets of me. And I just got tired of talking into the void, right? I got a couple hundred subscribers, whatever. Now it's going to be conversational, and what I want to figure out is when you launched, right, what was it, what surprised you? What were the challenges? How did you overcome them? Or when you see people launch, if you're in M&A or legal or whatever, like, what are the hurdles that you see relative to your industry that folks are all running into? And that information for the founders is going to help them, that first year, getting to $1 million, that first year. That problem, if businesses could just reliably figure out how to get there, like once you're making $1 million a year, a whole lot of the rest of your business gets easier. And it's not all that hard. It's not easy. I mean, here I say my business is doing $60K a month right now, right? I'm not $1 million a year yet myself. But even at $60K a month, which is 2/3 of the way there, like a lot of the business problems go away, right? I can solve problems over time because I'm getting paid enough that I can exist. So that's what I'm trying to do is give people what they need to launch and then be default alive.
Love it, dude. Need to run on my side. I have a client I need to attend to, but I'd like to pitch you on my idea as well that I had in the wedding. Just talk about like other ideas and so forth, but it's aligned with the vision of data and having the pure information. It is selling online businesses. So being a broker, quite literally, I'd like to pitch on that one. It's international, also a bit like Website Closers or Flippa, but yeah, I'd like to pitch you on that. Love the idea, and yeah, I'm not surprised by the way with marketers not being scientific. Humans, they just go so much with their hearts, they follow their hearts, and in business, it's most of the time it's counterintuitive. What you need to do most of the time is cut out emotions and just try 100 things and let the results speak for themselves, which is almost an inhuman thing to do when you think about it. Like hard. Humans don't do that. Anyway, so yeah, would love to come on your pod also and speak about that on the cold email level and the experimental level. So nice one. And dude, let's book that one.
All right, I will follow up on that with email. Meanwhile, if you're, GTM, right, think of the counterfactual, what you can do to launch that will work but doesn't feel right. And I will send you this recording for your use. See you, dude.